Hello everyone. Outcomes of democracy is one among the many chapters introduced in Democratic Politics, Volume 2 in Class 10th. Outcomes means result, consequences, which may include positive and negative. Let us have a study on the outcomes of democracy. Assessments of outcomes of democracy. Outcomes out of every democracy. As an economic outcome, we expect that democracies produce economic growth and development and reduce poverty and inequality. As a social outcome, we expect democracy to accommodate the social diversity in a society and provide dignity and freedom to all its citizens. As a political outcome, we expect democracy to produce accountable, responsive, and legitimate government. Economic growth and development, reduce poverty and inequality, accommodate social diversity, dignity and freedom to all its citizens, accountable, responsive, and legitimate government. These are all the outcomes that we are going to discuss in this chapter. Accountable, responsive, and legitimate government. Whatever the actions committed by democracy are accountable to its people, to its societies and to its institutions. It is also responsible government. Whatever the actions committed by them are responsible to the citizens. And a legitimate government, it is also a lawful government. In our democracy, we are most concerned with ensuring that people will have the right to choose their rulers and peoples will have control over the rulers. Whenever possible and necessary, citizens should be able to participate in decisions making that affects them all. Therefore, the most basic outcome of democracy should be that it produces a government that is accountable to the citizens and responsive to the needs and expectations of the citizens. Accountable, responsive, and legitimate government. A democratic government is people's own government. It is ruled by the people, of the people, by for the people, as it was defined by the Abraham Lincoln. People wish to be ruled by representatives selected by them. They also believe that democracy is suitable for their country. That is what we can call legitimate government. Democracy's ability to generate its own support is itself an outcome that cannot be ignored at any cost. Accountable responsibility. Democracy is based on the idea of deliberations and negotiations. So some delay is about to take place in democracy also, though it is accountable government. The democratic government will take more time to follow procedures before arriving to a conclusion or before arriving to a decision making. That's why, though it is responsible government, so a delay will take place, but because it has followed procedures, it has followed procedures. So this is democracy is preferred over dictatorship everywhere except in Pakistan. What this you can say the schedule is explained. In South Asia, we have taken here South Asian countries. Democracy is preferable 69% in Bangladesh, 70% in India, 62% in Nepal, Pakistan only 37%, Sri Lanka 71% preferable to democracy. The highest number of people are preferring the democracy in Sri Lanka. Sometimes dictatorship is better. That is 6% of people think like this, 9% in India, 10% in Nepal, 14% in Pakistan, 11% in Sri Lanka. Does not matter whatever may be the government, whether dictatorship or you can say the democracy. That is 25% below it in Bangladesh, 21 in India, Nepal 28%, and Pakistan 49%, and then Sri Lanka 18%. This is what we have to see. Then economic growth and development. This is the growth means see how the line is going towards the achievement. This is economic growth. This is growing stage, and here we are having the development stage. The development has taken place. If democracies are expected to produce good governments, then is it not fair to expect that they would also produce development? If you consider all democracies and all dictatorship for the 50 years between 1950 and 2000, dictatorship have slightly higher rate of economic growth. The inability of democracy to achieve higher economic development worries us, but this alone cannot be reason to reject democracy. Economy development depends on several factors: country's population, its size, global situation, cooperation from other countries, economic priorities, and adopted by the country, etc. However, the difference in the rates of economic development by less developed countries with dictatorship and democracies negligible. See, economic growth and income distribution gains in 2000-2006, rich becoming very rich, middle in the middle only, and poor people, or you can say this cartoon on this page and next three pages tell us about the disparities between the rich, poor, and should the gains of economic growth be evenly distributed? How can the poor can get a voice for a better share in a nation? What can the poor countries do to receive a greater share in the world's wealth? So here, this cartoon will tell us how the greater people are becoming richer and poorer people are remaining as poor only. Is the types of regime and countries which are where you can say the growth rate is very very high. In case of all democracies, you can say the democratic regimes 3.95 only. Then you can say in case of all dictator regimes 4.42, poor countries under dictatorship 4.34, and poor countries under democracy 4.28. This is what we have the economic so, reduction of inequality and poverty. Outcomes of democracy. This is one of the important and again outcome of democracy. Reduction of inequality and poverty. Democracy and our expectations from democracy and or to reduce economic disparity and equal distribution of wealth. Democracies are based on political equality, and gulf between rich and poor is wider. Developed and developing countries, poor constitute a large proportion. No party will like to lose their vote, but democratically elected governments do not appear as keen to address the question of poverty. Here, the voice of the poor. Accommodation of the social diversity. So this is one of the important outcomes. Social diversity is a feature of a society which is determined by caste, class, religion, occupational pattern in a given territory. In the social sphere, the general customs and manners of the people greatly differ. People of different regions use different types of dresses. Their eating habits and customs differ, and certain people are quite civilized while others are very barbaric and backward in their customs. So in democracy, so this is a better outcome because it is accommodating all different kinds of linguistic and then religious and caste based people in democracy. That's why it is one of the best. Sri Lanka reminds us that a democracy must fulfill two conditions in order to achieve this outcome. That is social diversity outcome. It is necessary to understand that democracy is not simply ruled by majority opinion, The majority always needs to work with the minority so that government function represent the general view. Majority and minority opinions are permanent. It is also necessary that rule by majority does not become rule by majority community in terms of religion or race or linguistic group, etc. etc. Rule by majority means that in case of every decision or in case of every election, different persons and groups may and can form a majority. Dignity and freedom of the citizen. You might have studied about the dignity, how it is violated in your 7th and 8th classes when Om Prakash Valmiki and Ansari have lost their dignity and respect. Democracy stands much superior to any other form of government in promoting dignity of an individual and freedom of the individuals. Every individual wants to receive respect from fellow beings. Often conflicts arise among individuals because some feel that they are not treated with due respect. The passion for respect and freedom on the basis of democracy. Democracies throughout the world have recognized this, at least in principle. This has been achieved in various degrees in various democracies. For societies which have been built for long on the basis of sub- subordination and domination, it is not a simple matter to recognize that all individuals are equal. Thank you very much for your patience here.